Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast dedicated to helping you discover great wines with great value for every occasion. On this episode, we review
the Alta Vista Brut Rosé.
Is this the second sparkling wine in a row?
It is.
Sparkling wine season, baby.
It is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's almost like we planned it that way, Joel. Like we're doing a mini-series about sparkling wine.
Wow.
Wait until you get to next week.
Oh, your mind is going to be blown.
Get out of here.
Uh-oh.
Are we doing
Not a bad problem
for
to
the
have.
three-peat?
Gotta be
No,
honest
it's a great
with you.
problem to
I'm
have.
not mad about this.
No. I should mention this is the Stop Wasting Your Wine podcast. This is Joel, joined by Colin and Aaron. Thank you guys for joining. That was a thank you to the listener, not to you guys. You guys have to be here. Listen, I will say one thing about this. I am kind of glad that we're doing more bubbles here too, because I feel like, bubbles are they're nice, they're light, they're fun. Anybody else feel like this time of year it gets a little bit tough to kind of keep tabs on what you're drinking, and like, are we in like a vortex right now of time? What's going on?
I know this is a common problem. I'm about to enter. I know this isn't everyone experiences this, but I'm about to enter that time period between Christmas and New Year's. I do not work during that time. Their in-laws are going to be here. They're going to be helping watching the kids. And so I'm going to have less responsibility than I normally have.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just totally acceptable on, Christmas Day to have a mimosa at like 9:30 in the morning.
Totally.
Watch out, wine pantry.
And that's just going to... I'm going to have someone else padlock it and not tell me where the key is.
I was going to say, I'm going to text your wife and just say, hey, this is the perfect storm of events right now. We got to
There's so much content I can make over the next week.
That's true.
Frame it like that and she can't say no.
It's for the pod.
True.
It is for the pod. I appreciate that.
And mimosa,
That makes everything acceptable.
a lunch wine, a dinner wine, a dessert wine. I know about dessert wines now.
There we go.
I need to go get some port. I need to go get some port.
The one time where he would switch to coffee, and now we gave him another alternative. But there is something about this time. I don't know what the hell it is, man. But like, I don't know. Like everybody's kind of slacking off a little bit at work. Nobody really is like focused. Because why are you going to try to focus on something for that 1 week and then go into New Year's? I don't know. It's such a crazy time.
Not a lot. I mean, there's a ton going on, but there's also not a lot going on, especially with kids. Like everything's closed. What are you doing besides sitting at home? So,
Not
you accidentally crack open a bottle of wine here and there. Next thing you know, you've accidentally cracked open 10 bottles of wine, and
it's cold outside.
It's the new year.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I mean, what are we gonna do?
Totally.
It's the responsible thing to do.
That's right.
Sure.
Is to enjoy some wine with your family.
We need a disclaimer here of some sort, but I don't know what it is.
Responsibly.
Totally agree. Yes. Very, very good. That's a good word to add in there. Well, let's be responsible and see if we can find another, it is still the season. We still do have the initiative. We want to keep guiding people towards some cool, fun wines that fit this crazy time and this vortex of time that we're all going to go through. So 2nd of 3 sparkling today. Excited to try this one. I know we said it was a Brut Rosé. But Aaron, tell us a little bit more about the bubbles we're going to be trying today.
Absolutely, Joel. So as I mentioned, this is from the producer Alta Vista. It is from Mendoza, Argentina, one of our favorite regions. It has not disappointed us yet. This is 50% Malbec and 50% Pinot Noir.
What a cool blend for bubbles, by the way. That's awesome. Yeah,
I think I'm not sure if we've had that blend before, but sounds kind of cool and unique.
Yeah.
No, we have not.
Exciting.
I can guarantee you we have not had that blend before.
Yeah. I don't know. I was kind of thrown off because last week was also like a unique blend for bubbles as well. So this has been a cool experience so far. Like most sparkling wines that we can afford, there's no vintage on this. And with responsible drinking, a big part of this show is responsible spending. And so we're trying to find some bottles, knowing that you're going to be possibly buying a few more than usual as you are hosting and visiting and just surviving. This bottle runs you between what I found online, $16 to $25, depending on where you are and where you can find it. And it's an ABV of 13%.
Something to keep in mind about this one that is going to be very different than what we tried last week. This bottle was produced in the tank method of sparkling wine.
Man, I wish we could learn more about the difference between the tank method and traditional method.
Whoa.
Well, Aaron, strap in, big guy, because do we have a learning segment for you?
Oh, is that planned for today?
It is.
Nothing is planned on this show.
Man, that's convenient. If I was listening to this show,
happens.
I would be so excited and would stick around for the whole episode.
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
I love that. We're going to learn about this, but it does make me think too. I think this is the perfect time for this week's question of the week.
Question of the week.
Reminder. This is go out, let us know what you think about this. We'll feature some of your comments. We'll talk about this. But with all these different types of sparkling wines, we're just on 2 of 3. There's a whole world out there. I want to know, what's your go-to sparkling wine? What's your favorite style? What's your favorite bottle? Tell us about it. Tell us why we should try it. We'll talk about it. Maybe we'll even try it on a future episode. All right, so maybe this one we try today will be somebody's favorite. So what do you guys think? You want to jump right in?
Let's do it.
Let's get in there.
Let's do it.
Tastes like wine.
All right. First thing I'm going to call out here too, guys, is just look at that. Look at that beautiful color right there, huh?
It's a very nice color.
Very
call it?
pink.
What do you call
I guess
it?
it makes
Salmon?
sense. We're talking Malbec and Pinot Noir, so I'm not totally shocked here. But look at that.
That's
huh?
true.
I'll
Just say
say-
rosé right on the bottle.
Not tiny
that's true,
bubbles. I got big old bubbles.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
they are pretty big bubbles.
Welcome to the tank method, baby. That's what we're talking about there. Yep.
Nice. Okay, good. Looking forward to learning about that. What are you guys getting on the nose?
I'm getting some red fruit in there. I like cherry, I think, is the one that really stands out the most. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe a little raspberry in there too.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
Sorry for stealing your words.
No,
but-
I'm just going to piggyback right on yours right there.
Okay, yeah. Piggyback on, baby. Anything else?
There's definitely something on there. Maybe it's the raspberries, but there's something that's a little bit different to me than. I mean, I guess. I mean, it's the rosé is really leaning through, and I think that maybe covers up some of the crispness and the breadiness that you kind of get from a sparkling wine. Often, as soon as you put your nose in, you just get that like rosé right off the bat.
I'll agree. It's definitely more of like a fruit kind of thing. Like there's no, I guess, again, not to bury the lead here, but like, no lees here, right? Like there's no butteriness, there's no breadiness for sure. So what is flowing through and showing is that fruitiness. And I might throw in maybe a little bit of citrusiness on the nose there too.
100%. Yeah. Lots of lemon. Like that, you get quite a bit of that. And maybe even like, I mean, maybe a hint of grapefruit too. There's like
I don't hate that.
maybe a little bitter grapefruit. It's definitely not as bright as the lemon, but it still has that citrus vibe. So that's why grapefruit kind of
I like that a lot.
pops in my head.
Where would the citrus come from?
A tree?
Oh, thank you. Moving forward. Sorry, that was a ridiculous question by itself. But I'm looking at 50% Malbec, and I'm looking at 50% Pinot Noir, and I'm saying to myself, if I was just drinking a Malbec, 100%, and I was just drinking a Pinot Noir, 100%, neither of those things would I be like, ooh, citrus. So my question in that context is, where the hell did the citrus come from?
Sure. Yeah. So a lot of those darker.
Makes more sense.
I needed more time to explain myself.
That's a really
With
well
context.
formulated question.
For sure, 100%. So yeah, a lot of those darker red fruit flavors come from the skins. This doesn't see a lot of time on skin contact, which is why it's only like that light pink color. So there's not as much extraction of those flavors. So it has to do with the way the wine's made, to the amount of contact it has with the skins, and it's just extracting different flavors because it's not going through the same process as a red wine.
Thank you. See?
Sure.
Well done.
Not that
See?
ridiculous of a question.
No, it was a great
Yeah.
question. The second time around, when you put some context to it, it was great.
When it
And
wasn't just
we're already
panic
learning.
and confusion.
Love it. All right, let's give it a taste.
The only wine review podcast where that exchange would happen, ladies and gentlemen.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Nice. Interesting. Okay, what do you guys think?
You know, I'm thinking back to the Rosé Cremant that we had, which I feel was super crisp, if I'm remembering correctly, and it was really, really bright, and it was, in my brain, it was like a really good example of a sparkling wine that had rosé sprinkled in to be like, this is sparkling wine and rosé. And this, to me, the rosé is a lot more forward, and you got those fruity flavors. You have that almost like more of the rosé like structure to it, and then it's just like happens to be sparkling, right?
Sure.
Which, and I'm not saying that in any kind of negative way at all. I'm just like, oh, this feels like the fruit is a lot more forward, and the rosé, like if you're a rosé drinker, like this might be something that you'd be really into. Is just what I'm thinking off the top of my head.
Yeah, and I think what you're missing here is the traditional method, right? So probably you think sparkling wine, you think kind of just champagne, or Cremant is another good example where it has those leesy flavors, some that vanilla undertones sometimes. This is not going to have any of that. This
yes.
is made in a style that's meant to be fruit driven. So when you say you're missing something from the Cremant, it's all of those undertones from the traditional method of production. So I think that's kind of the difference.
That's so important, and that makes so much sense.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's when you're buying sparkling wine, that's a really important thing to keep in mind. It's, a tank method sparkler is going to be fruit driven, and we'll talk about this more later, but a traditional method sparkling wine is going to be more lees driven. And they're of course going to have fruit, but it's not going to be the main source of the flavor profile.
I mean, I'm always excited for our learning segment. I feel like a lot of times it just gives me a little bit more to lean on. I feel like today's is going to be really important around not just explaining this wine, but also just kind of unlocking a bigger picture of how sparkling is made and how the actual methods result in completely different wine experiences.
For sure. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot to explore there. Let's talk about this wine though for a second, guys. Like, what are we thinking? I love your point. No, I think it's totally fair. It is a totally different experience, even from what we had last week. So, but flavor profile wise, how are you guys feeling? Did we discover most of it when on the nose, or is it presenting a little bit differently? What do you think?
Yeah, I think flavors wise, we did pretty good, but there's something else in there. There's another, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Haven't been able to put my finger on it, but it's interesting. Oh, please.
I think I know. Well, I don't know maybe the root of it, but I think I know the experience you're having. Is it a little bit of like a funkiness on the finish?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And actually, not only tasting it, but now going back and smelling it, like funky is a really good
I think that's what I was talking about when I was like, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's raspberry. Like there was something funky on the top, and then there's something funky in the taste. And again, like for folks who are new with us, like funky isn't necessarily like a negative term.
Totally.
When you're talking about wine, it's just it's like there's just something.
Yeah.
There's something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where that funk would come from, because this is New World wine. New World producers usually try to stay away from funk. This is a cleaner process with the tank method, so you're going to see less funk, I would think. But I don't know, and I'm trying to think of like what. It's not like the earthiness from Pinot Noir. It might be a little.
Maybe it's just the
Malbec-y.
weird combination of Malbec and Pinot Noir.
Little Malbec-y is what I was going to say.
Like maybe it's just that, because Malbec kind of has that, kind of odd funkishness to it sometimes, and so maybe it's just that marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely unique.
Unique is a good word.
For sure. But I also don't want to paint it like it's like this, it's just like fruit, one bite of fruit, and then like one bite of funky. Like it's a very, to me, it's like it's
bowls.
there, but it's still subtle. Like it's just a subtle, interesting finish. It sort of makes for a more interesting experience on this. It doesn't take away from anything else that we've called out. It's just kind of like, oh, wow, and there's a little funk at the end. Cool.
It's literally just a flavor that I cannot associate with anything else right now.
Other things.
But it's not a negative at all. It's just like the taste of this wine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fruit flavors we pretty much nailed. I think there's some of that citrus in there. I will say all of the red fruit are a lot more sour than I thought. Like it's almost underripe red fruit, if that makes sense. It's not like very plush cherries. It's kind of like the cherry hasn't quite gotten there yet. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of what I'm getting with that. And then the only other thing I'll say is Aaron mentioned structure. This wine does have a little bit of extra structure because it is a rosé. So you do get a tiny bit of tannin, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing that was kind of like when I first took a sip, I'm like, I know it's a sparkling wine. And there's just that, like, sipping on a rosé kind of vibe to it that happens. And I don't know. For me, it's working.
Yeah, really, really, really cool. This is a fun thing. But I think what might make this even more interesting is if we learn a little bit about just this whole realm of things, the tank method. We're getting away from the traditional. Let's learn about it.
Time to drop some knowledge. Wine drops.
All right, so let's before we even get into tank method and all that good stuff, the whole thing, whatever we're talking about when it comes to sparkling wine, we're starting with a base wine. Various methods to get it to, what we experience in the bottle, obviously, but starts with a base wine, typically high in acid, lower in alcohol, and it's something that, if you were to try it before we take this and we do all these methods and make it into the wonderful sparkling majesty that it is, you probably wouldn't like it all that much.
So
it's
I can
not really
sparkle
meant
any wine?
to be that way.
Yeah.
It's a good question. If you have a soda stream.
Yeah.
That's all it is, really.
We will get to that.
That's the third method. It's traditional,
That's the fourth
it's tank,
method, actually.
and it's soda stream.
That's how Aaron made the worst Cab Franc ever. Did you?
Totally, 100%. So, the method really, in a lot of these cases, is a huge differentiator, okay? So when it comes to the traditional method of making sparkling wine, Colin, what would you expect from that? So it's not what we're drinking today, but let's start there, and then we'll go from there. Traditional, what do you expect, Colin?
This is the champagne method, correct?
The champagne method, yeah.
Okay.
Traditional method champenois, champagne method, all those terms are the same. So, and we talked a lot about this last week. If you listen to that episode, we did kind of a deeper dive on the traditional method. But, basically with the traditional method, the secondary fermentation, and that's really the difference, is the secondary fermentation on each of these processes. It happens at different points in the winemaking process. So for the traditional method, it's going to happen in the bottle, which is why you get those yeasty and leesy flavors, the bready flavors, because the wine is actually aging on the yeast cells, or the lees, which is just dead yeast. And that, of course, we talked about, you're going to have finer bubbles. You're going to get a lot of those other flavors beyond the fruit. There's going to be some different textures in there as well. I think one of the biggest differences between this week and last week is the texture of the wine. We were just, there was so much more of a mouthfeel on last week's than this. And that, of course, all comes from the traditional method. So, it's a completely different style. It's made for different reasons.
And that's where the whole like riddling process came, right? Where they would actually like turn the bottles, because all the fermentation is happening within the bottle. They're like rotating it to make sure that everything continues properly.
Yeah, you gotta get all the lees out. And what riddling does is it slowly moves the lees to the neck of the bottle. So you can pop the bottle in a process called disgorgement, and the lees actually shoot out of there, and that's how they get all that stuff out.
But they pop the bottle and then they reseal the bottle?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So
the hell?
Yeah, riddling is
My
actually
bottle's
done.
been pre-bopped?
It has been pre-popped,
Yep.
but riddling is done under a star cap that you would see on a beer bottle, and then it doesn't have the cork until it's ready for final bottling and
They
production.
riddle with the soda pop cap
Yes,
and then they cork it.
that's correct.
Oh, hot damn! I did just learn something today.
All right, I love that.
That wasn't even part, ladies and gentlemen. That wasn't even part of the original script. That was just my curiosity and Colin's knowledge. Well done.
You went off script. What the hell, man?
Hey,
Yeah,
Colin was ready. He knew the things,
Now I lost my place.
and now I learned things. Well, it's okay. It's not your turn.
From the
Colin.
top.
Okay. Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine.
No, none of the episode. Anyway,
Oh, God.
but I'll get this thing back on track. Aaron, we are drinking a tank method sparkling wine this evening. Please tell us a little bit more about the tank method and how that wine is produced.
So, the tank method, and the big thing that makes it different from traditional methods, instead of being secondary fermented in the bottle, it is happening in a large steel tank. So, the benefits of this is it is preserving fresh fruit, is keeping the wine light, and it allows for quicker production. So if you think about mass production, if you think about, vineyards that are trying to get product out quickly, there are benefits to this. However, as we mentioned, it is going to create a different end product than the traditional method. So bright flavors, softer texture, and easy drinking style that feels maybe a lot cleaner than what you would normally expect out of a bottle of champagne.
Yeah, I just want to throw this out there. Just because it can be used for making more wine quicker, the method is a lot easier to mass produce. That doesn't mean you only get mass produced wine. We've had some really enjoyable, really good tank method. Prosecco is a tank method.
That's the tricky thing, right? Like, that's the beautiful, tricky thing that we have to figure out. It's
Sure.
like, is the tank method being used because that is the style and design of the wine, or is it being used because of the ability to mass produce or produce quickly? And I think both those things probably exist in the world.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, Bomdia is tank method sparkling wine, and that was fantastic wine.
It was
totally.
So
awesome. If you haven't
Yep.
checked that out, go check out Bomdia.
yeah. So don't get don't get scared if you don't see traditional method on the bottle. It's just a matter really when it comes down to of style. Is going to be the biggest differentiator.
No, I'm super glad you said that, because I think, like a lot that we talk about, it is a matter of knowing what you like in wine. Sure. And knowing what varietals, what regions, what methods produce the wine that you enjoy. So you may like traditional method sparklings, or you might find that there's something about tank method that you like more. So I really appreciate you saying that, Colin, because it is about style. It's about preference more than anything else.
I'm curious about something in there. So, like, in the same way that I totally agree. I think the big takeaway there is this it's not a negative to be tank method. It's a choice. Are there people, though, in the same way that people will try to kind of fake aging in barrels for a red wine by adding in, a peaty liquid or something like that, like faking that, or putting in chips for a little bit? Are there producers out there that will do something tank method to take advantage of the quicker, fermentation and getting those bubbles, and then try to kind of fake the breadiness and fake the effect of leaving the wine on the lees for a little while? Does that happen, or is that not really a thing?
That's a really good question. I mean, I know some tank method producers will leave the wine on the lees for a little bit of time. So, you're not getting, of course, the same experience. That's a really good question. I don't know if there's that same level, like if there's an oak chip equivalent to, tank method sparkling wine. Yeah. That's a really good question, though. And if somebody knows, let us know. Yeah. I would love to know about that, because that's a super, super interesting question.
For sure. And what you mentioned too even sounds like maybe a style where it's like you do tank method and then you put it on the lees for a little bit. Like that sounds like maybe even a choice. So if somebody does that, I don't want it to sound like we're suggesting that that's like cheating or whatever. That's kind of how I frame the question. But yeah, no, I like the equivalent of like, is there an oak chip equivalent?
It's a super fun rabbit hole to go down, right? Because we're kind of in that aspect now where it's all about style. It's all about these really old methods and trying to figure out like why someone is doing something. So if our listener knows anything, would love to hear people, chime
us
in.
Up.
But
speaking of old methods,
I was going to ask. I was going to say, like, so a lot of times you hear people talk about traditional method and tank method. But in reality, there is another method of sparkling wine called the Ancestral method. Joel, can you talk a little bit more about the Ancestral method and what that might change in the experience of that glass of wine?
Big time. And maybe ancestral method is a new term for you, but I'm going to equate it to a fairly common wine that you've probably tried. But ancestral method is really basic. It's just where the wine is bottled before that first fermentation. The fermentation is happening in the bottle. There is no second fermentation. It's all just happening right there in the bottle. You may have tried this, think pet nat, right? If you tried a pet nat, a lot of folks out there probably have. But, think of the last one you had. It's, it's cloudy. It's not, there's some fizz in there, but it's not quite as much as a traditional or a tank method sparkling. It's just kind of like a light fizz, a light bubble for you. Totally different texture, a little bit more feel going on, I would say. It's not crisp. It's kind of the opposite of it. But still, fresh and there's something like a completely different feel to it, almost more like an unfiltered beer if you've had that, right? It's kind of an unfiltered wine to some extent as well. So, and a 100%. Totally different experience when it comes to sparkling, but also pretty cool. Well, but what's funny too is I was kind of joking about the Soda Stream a little bit ago, but there is actually another type of sparkling wine that maybe, I don't know if you if you have the right equipment, you could give it a go. But there is actually a method that involves carbonation and adding carbonation. So, Colin, can you tell us a little bit more about what the carbonation method is and kind of what you would expect with that style of sparkling wine?
Yeah, so expect garbage. Because
wow, straight off the bat, bias.
Yeah, well, this only happens at the very, very, very low end. Bottom shelf sparkling wine, American sparkling wine that you find at the stores.
7-Eleven sparkling wines.
7-Eleven sparkling wines oftentimes use carbonation, and they're literally just adding carbonation to a still base wine, and that's that. So definitely not a method of quality. So, not something we would probably see, but,
we'll see them on our mimosa episode. I will, these are made to be mixed with orange juice.
No, these are made to sit on the gas station shelf. Just don't, if you don't want any of this.
I feel like we haven't had bougie Colin in a few episodes, so I like this.
Yeah, welcome back. I'm so happy.
Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
Well, listen, I have standards.
This isn't even bougie. Yeah, it's really just having a standard.
Oh yeah.
Basic
and I'm going hard at some really cheap wine, which maybe not fair. If you like it, drink it, but it's garbage.
I don't think you have to put the label on that one. You can just move forward.
That's true. That's a good point. Anyway, so it's just like it's basically soda. That's the experience you're gonna get. It's wine with just the added carbonation. You're right, Joel. You could technically, with the Soda Stream, you can make any wine sparkling, but that's all that is.
Pretty wild that there's so many different. I mean, it's all wine. It's all just wine. It's all the same grapes, but what you do to it has such a huge difference. It's pretty wild. I guess that's everything with wine, but just like such a, the avenues are so wildly different when it comes to sparkling. So cool that we walked through kind of the four, maybe I'll say 3.5 kind of key ways that you go from that, base wine into that sparkling that you're drinking in your bottle. So you, listener at home, can kind of decide, hey, what really is going to resonate with me? What kind of vibe am I looking for? And, look for your style in that way when you're at the store choosing. So, we got a cool tank method Brut Rosé here. Again, the Alta Vista Brut Rosé from Mendoza, Argentina. It's 50% Malbec, 50% Pinot Noir, 13% ABV. So, guys, what do you think? Let's get into our reviews.
Yeah, but did they like it? It's time for the review.
All right, since I am the host today, I will reserve the last review for myself. Aaron, I'll throw to you first, man. Give me, take your last couple of sips. Tell me what you're thinking and where you're going to put this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an excellent example of a casual sipper that will be a general crowd pleaser. You can put it out, especially, again, I'm thinking about the holidays. I'm thinking about just having people over, having a chilled glass of bubbly rosé. And I think this is something that if you're a rosé drinker, there's a lot that's familiar here. a lot that you're going to feel good about, especially with the bubbles. I mean, just it's good, especially at $16, $17. It's a bottle that, or two that you can grab and have around. It's not a must share. It's not something I'm writing home about. It's not something I'm like featuring. And I think that's okay. Like, that's just not the purpose of this wine. And I think especially, again, as we learn about tank method or traditional method, if you are someone who likes tank method sparkling wine and you like rosé, this might be something that you want to grab and have around, especially when you have company. So really strong casual sipper. I'm enjoying it.
Nice. Colin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is another one where price matters a lot. You know, I think we said 17 to 25. I think either way, like for me, it's going to be a backup wine, but where on the scale of backup wine that lands depends starkly on how much you're able to buy this for. For me, the problem with this is the sourness. The fruit flavors are nice, but it's just so sour to me. Like it's hard for me to want to go in for another sip because the structure isn't quite there as far as the acid is concerned, which I think is the biggest flaw of the wine. I like the flavors otherwise, but it's just that structural component. So a backup wine, and you know, but and I don't want to say backup wine and like I would never drink this again, but there are a lot of other sparkling wines that I've enjoyed, especially in this price range, that I would absolutely go to first. And then, you know, just have this one on ice when everybody's had a couple of other bottles of sparkling wine. Sure, pop this one out. So, you know, that's where I am with this one.
Fair. Okay, so I think I like a lot of what both of you said, and I'm kind of on a personal mission right now to sort of like reclassify the casual sipper as like a very positive thing, because I think it really can be. And to me, I think that this is a casual sipper as well. I'm with you, Aaron. And, you know, to me, the whole thing about this is, you're right. Like if I think a cool story is when you get a traditional method champagne and it's, you know, $15, but it tastes like something that's $50 and you can go and you can show that to people. That's a must share. This is a casual sipper. This is like, the price point makes sense to me. To me, it's very enjoyable. I like a lot of acid, and I agree there is kind of like a sour note to it. But to me, like on a hot day outside somewhere, like this would be really, really, I think, refreshing. And I think we didn't really talk about kind of the crispness and the refreshing kind of elements of this thing too. So to me, it's a total casual sipper. There's, again, nothing that takes me really away from this one. It's not elegant. It's just really kind of enjoyable and crisp and refreshing, in my opinion. So that's where I'm putting it.
I mean, I think just not to be a dead horse, I think there's an aspect of the rosé is so centered in this. To me, it's more like a rosé that is sparkling rather than a sparkling wine that is rosé, and that might mean nothing to anyone, but I think when we compare it to like some of the other wines we've had in the past, especially when we did the rosé Cremant, like it's just, that's the purpose. So if you are a rosé drinker, like this is probably something that might speak to you a little bit more.
Totally agree. I'm going to go ahead and say not a waste of your wine. I'll let anybody object. I'm looking at Colin for any emotion.
Yeah. I again, I think this very much based on price, but you know, if the price range is 17 to 25, no way I'm buying this at $25.
Okay.
That would not do it for me. 17, totally. I have no problem with that. Under 20, I think is where this should be, but over 20, I would have to call this one a waste.
Well, I think under 20 is like the shining point for this, right? And when we talk about the over 20, and we've talked about this before with other wines, when you get into kind of like the liquor stores that just happen to sell wine, that like, you know, jack up their wine costs, that's where you kind of want to be a little more careful about specific wine prices, you know, in a wine like this one. But I would say where it's supposed to be marked, you know, in 16 to 20, that's a prime place for this. But I agree with Colin. Like, I don't think this is a bottle I'd spend $25 on, but I think there's a lot of bottles like that we've really enjoyed at the price point that they are, where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though, and I totally agree with you. I do think that there's a little, you know, price can have an impact here, but we only get one vote on waste of your wine or not. It's been a while since we've had to talk about it. I feel like we should probably do a quick vote. Colin, are you saying a waste?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in general, no, it's not. But
okay.
I would be very hesitant. Check the price is all I'm saying. In my opinion, don't spend more than $20 on this. That would be my absolute cutoff. But so if you can find it less than that. I know I'm not doing this right, but if you can find it less than that, it's not a waste. If you can't, maybe buy something else.
I don't think that's a ridiculous thing at all, Colin. We've talked about wines that we really like, that we have said this wine is awesome under $30, but don't spend over $30 on this. A friend of the pod, Janine, sent me a menu at a restaurant she was at the other day. It had the Eagle Gal Cote d'Aron on it. What do you think the bottle costs at the restaurant?
Oh, 70.
Joel?
I'm going to say $87.
So 63.
Okay.
No.
And a glass was 17. And I texted her back and was like, the bottle costs $16.
Yeah. For sure.
But we love it. We love that bottle of wine. But, that is an example of like knowledge is a curse, where it's just like, shit, you could order that bottle and be like, man, this is delicious. And then go to the store and find out that should have cost you $15. And so, yeah, so I understand what you're saying completely. I'm saying not a waste of your wine. I'm enjoying it. My bottle's almost gone, so that's just on me.
Mine too.
But not a waste of your wine. But I agree with Colin. Like once the price starts taking up, it's not so much that decreases the quality of the wine, but you have to look at the competition. Like, once you get to $25 and you look over at Rosé Cremant and there's just a different value there. But I think it's $17. This is great. It's not a waste at all.
All right. Well, I'm going to be not a waste of your wine as well. So a little controversial here. We had to talk about it, but official stamp, not a waste. Be careful. Find it at a reasonable price, and you'll have a good time, we think.
I'm having a great time.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So we say give it a go if you find it, and let us know what you think. Definitely some discussion we've had on this one. Guys, before we go, can we play a game we haven't played in a little while? I would love to do a quick I'm wine with that.
Ooh, I'm wine with that.
Ooh,
Okay.
I'm wine with that for sure.
All right, so let me paint the picture here. Guys, I have one for us, if that's okay. I came kind of locked and loaded on this one, if that's all right.
Love that.
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay, so if you haven't played this game with us before, ladies and gentlemen, pretty simple, right? Paint a scenario, and we discuss whether or not we're wine with that or not. Okay, so here's my scenario, guys. You're at a family holiday dinner. You're at one of those very long tables, like where like your parents put extra tables, like foldy tables, on the normal dining room table.
Don't even
There's
know
like
where those
30
tables
people
are most of the
there.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're in the room you're never really in. There's a china cabinet for some reason. I don't know. But very, very long table, right? You're at the end, okay? The wine you want, complete opposite end of the table, okay?
Ooh.
There's some wine in front of you, but the one you want, the one that's going to go perfectly with your turkey or whatever the heck you're eating, on the other end of the table. Scenario. Calling down to the end and saying, send me that bottle of wine. And it's not 5 people, it's 20 people. You've got your best friend's grandma is there. You've got a whole line of 4 little kids all along on both sides. This is a real inconvenience, okay? Calling down to the other end of the table saying, I want that bottle of wine. You wine with that?
That's a really good one. Because I could see myself doing that. I could totally see myself doing that. But if I'm trying to put myself in the guest's shoes at this moment, and that would be just rude as hell. You're just screaming across an entire party of people asking for wine.
That's a key point too. Everybody is in everybody's in conversation. It's not quiet. Everybody's talking. Everybody's vibing. Like it's happening. You have to pause everything to get this bottle of wine. That's a great call out. Thank you for reminding me of this.
For sure. Yeah, no, I don't think I'm on with that. I don't think I'm on with that. I think I would just drink the wine that's in front of me because I don't want to be that guy. I just don't want to be that guy.
I don't know if I'm doing this right. I'm not wine with that. I am getting that wine.
Yeah, I'll get up and go get it.
No. No, you're in a tiny dining room. I'm telling you, tables are stuffed in this little room. There's not like room to
This
get
is my
up and walk
family.
around.
This is my family.
No, this is a mix. This is family. This is your neighbor who didn't have anywhere to go, came over. They brought their grandma. They brought.
It's
mixed company.
It's my family's event, though.
It is your family's event. Yes.
I'm wine with that.
Okay.
95% of my family doesn't appreciate that bottle of wine. Hey, hand that down here before anyone does anything silly with that. Give that right over here. Come on. You don't appreciate that. Hand it down. Yep. Almost. Come on. Almost. Yep. No. Thank you.
Telling somebody they don't.
Does
appreciate
anyone
that
else
is
want to try this?
next level?
Very good. I felt like I was there at the table. I was like,
Yeah,
what? This
no.
guy really wants this.
And
pot.
I was offended as hell. I was
Get
so
over
upset.
it. Get over it. If there was a good bottle of wine ordered for some reason, and like there's 20 people who have no idea, come on.
Fuck it. I'm with Aaron on this one. Yeah, totally. I don't think I was gonna be wine with that, and then you totally convinced me right there. Like, what the hell am I waiting for? This is my life. I'm gonna live it. Let's get that wine down here.
And you're going to inspire like 4 people to try it who weren't going to anyways because you're so avid about it. They're going to be like, why is he so hot and bothered right now? I would like to try that wine as well.
Yeah.
And can I just jump in here? Joel, I know you'd like to think that you'd be wine with that, but knowing you for as long as I have, you are not at all wine with that. Let's be honest.
Right. I'd be like, well, this one's right here. I'll just drink this.
This is just as good. I'm happy.
I don't want to inconvenience anybody. I'll just have some of this. This will be fine. If there's any left when everybody gets up, I'll go down and get that one. But for now, this is okay.
That's right.
Thanks, Colin, for having no hesitation that I would do that.
Oh, yeah, no, I could see that. I could see it 100%.
So good.
In the nicest way possible.
It wouldn't even be nice.
In the loudest way.
You would just, the loudest way possible.
Come on.
You there? Bring me that
You.
bottle.
Peasant.
Oh, man.
Come on, Grandma. Keep it going. Let's go.
You're too old for that bottle.
Oh, my God. So
Good
good.
one,
All right,
Joel.
thank you for playing along with me, gentlemen. I wanted to go back to that one. Very good. All right. Listen,
I'm gonna test that out.
Test it out. Let me know how it goes. I hope that you end up in that situation. All right, listen, I think we have done it. If you're still hanging out with us, thank you so much. I think this has been a fun episode, though. Listen, 2 out of 3 sparkling wines that we have planned for you. So thanks for listening today. Really looking forward to next week as well. We're going to round out the rest of the year here. And then we'll get back into sort of our normal routine on things. But I think this is a great way to end what hopefully was a great year for you, listener. And if not, here's to 2026. But listen, in the meantime, Colin, if anybody listening wants to hang out with us, if they want to go back and answer our question of the day, which as a reminder was, what's your go-to bottle of sparkling wine? This can be your, a style. This can be a particular bottle, whatever it is. If we didn't talk about it, if you want us to talk about it, let us know. Maybe we'll feature it on the show. So if they want to answer that question and hang out with us, where can they go?
Yeah, check us out on the gram, Instagram, for those uninitiated. Stop wasting your wine. You can catch us over on YouTube, and you could send us an email, which we would love. cheers@stopwastingyourwine.com. So those are the big 3, and we'd love to hear from you.
Love it. Love it. Well, listen, we got one more episode this year, guys. So hang in there with us. Yeah, and we'll see you on the next one before the big New Year celebration. And thanks so much for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for telling a friend about us. And we'll see you next week on another episode of Stop Wasting Your Wine. And in the meantime, remember, stop wasting your wine.
Merry Christmas, y'all.
Aw.
Bye.